I think we'll go in alphabetical order. Mr. Bowen, a minute to sum up.
Well, the last 6 years, Neil, have been full of chaos and cuts. That's what sums up this government. Today is the 5th anniversary of the 2014 budget, when the Liberals, after having promised no cuts to health, education, the pension, ABC and the SBS, did it all. That was 5 years ago today. That's what Liberals do, and that's what they'll do if they're re-elected again. They'll cut into health, they'll cut into education. There's a better way. That way is to make the tax system fairer, to get bigger budget surpluses and more investment in health and education. In health, if you get the diagnosis we all dread of cancer,
30 seconds.
We want you to be able to use your Medicare card, and that's it. We want Medicare to be there with you when you have cancer. If you're a pensioner, we want you to have access to dental care, $1,000 over 2 years to get your teeth fixed, which you can't currently do. These are important investments. These are important investments in our social conditions, but they are only possible with proper reform of the tax system, which we will do, making the tax system fairer, making the budget healthier, and having better investments in health and education.
Thank you. Mr. Frydenberg?
The budget a few weeks ago set out the Coalition's economic plan, not just for the next year, but actually for the next decade. Paying back Labor's debt, which is absolutely critical, because the interest bill alone on our debt is $18 billion a year, which would build 500 new schools every year and a big new teaching hospital in every state and territory. The second thing we're doing through the budget is we're growing the economy in the face of the economic headwinds. Tax cuts for millions of Australians, $100 billion on infrastructure, particularly to bust the congestion here in our cities, as well as creating 80,000 new apprentices. We're also guaranteeing record spending on hospitals, schools and roads, all without increasing taxes. But what Chris Bowen has failed to do today is explain the true negative economic impact on the economy of his $387 billion of higher taxes. Doesn't matter what the question is, Labor's answer is always higher taxes on retirees, on income earners, on homeowners, on renters, on people who put money into super, and on family businesses. The more Labor spends, the more they tax, the weaker the Australian economy.
Gentlemen, thank you both very much. We have a metaphorical handshake, because I wish you both well. Across the
we'll reach from Sydney to Melbourne to shake your hand.
And you know what? We'll get on. Chris and I will debate hard with you in the studio, but we'll get on out of the studio. And I think that's
why don't you sit down and fix it for Australia rather than your political parties? I don't want to.
Ways. Josh and I have
unfortunately, Chris's hands are tied by the unions. The unions.
In all fairness, Josh and I have different ideas about how to improve the country, but it's fair to say we both want to see a better Australia.
I'd agree with it. I hope we can talk again to both of you, regardless of your roles after the election. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Chris.
Chris Bowen, Josh Frydenberg, one of these men will be running things next week, or running the economy that touches your life. Okay, your views, 96900 693 13 13 32. And footy crowds, do we have to segregate them? That's ahead as well.